Hello, folks. Welcome back. I know it's been a really long time since I've posted my last video, which was about rentals. And I realized it was way back in 2025. Firstly, I hope you've had a good start to the year to all the viewers. This is my first video in 2026, and there's a good reason as to why I couldn't be active. I'll share that towards the end of the video. Now, coming to the discussion topic, what's been happening in Hyderabad from a new launch perspective in 2026. Before we go into the specific launches that I have in mind for discussion, just wanted to quickly summarize what happened in 2025 in Hyderabad. So I was reading a report, a research report that talks about the sales activity pipeline, all of that for 2025 across different markets. And the good news is the supply has reduced by 26% in 2025. What I mean by that is number of new launches have reduced by 26%. That is already a signal that builders have, been a lot more cautious than previous years in increasing the supply. The sales has also come down by 23% after a prolific bull run in the last 5 to 6 years that Hyderabad has seen. So it's a good, healthy equilibrium that the supply and demand are coming down. Launches are reducing, the sales volumes have come down. Again, not a surprise to most of you, I hope. But we're also seeing signals that things are bottoming out. I think the early signs in Q1 have pointed to growth. And that's quick backdrop. By the way, the phenomena of deceleration in 2025 is not just a Hyderabad phenomena. I was also looking at other markets, very similar trends, although the magnitude is much lower. We still have seen this to be a pan-India phenomena. And Hyderabad has felt it a lot more because of prior history as well. We've been the fastest growing Indian city from 2020 to 2024 as well. That also meant pressing some hard pedal on the growth. With that, I have a few exciting projects. Hopefully, you're all across what has been active in the market. So let's cover a few projects that I've been closely monitoring. Again, this is not all encompassing. This is a few projects that I've picked that could be of interest to anybody who is in the market currently. The first is MyScape Palma. We've talked about MyScape as a builder in the past. If you're keen, go back to some of my prior videos and look up MyScape, where we've reviewed a bunch of their prior projects. But Palma is newest offering. They've come up with the lowest size in this particular segment, in this particular area. All of their other projects are mostly just 4 BHKs. The MyScape Songs of the Sun, which is here, has a 3 and 4 BHK, but quite spacious. This is the first time in this particular corridor where they're coming up with an 1800 to 2900 sort of size range. More specifically, 1932 to 2600 ish. It's a good project, not the only non-high rise which is under 40 floors. That keeps the density in check. Density matters, keeping the supply quite constrained. You have lesser folks to compete with when you're selling your unit, renting your unit. So density always has a bit of a positive factor. It's set up in about 3.8 acres with an entry point of close to 1.9. At this point, 2.1 CR, right? I think early stage it was 1.9. Now should be around 2.1 CR. Now that's one project which I would quite honestly recommend. I think some of the initial sentiment from reviews also reflects that. It's a good project to pick up if you're looking for end use. The other one is Nova, also quite close to where Palma is and overall within the financial district belt. But clearly, Palma has an advantage given that this particular road is going to extend into the service road, so that improves connectivity with ORR service road. This also has easier connect to MyScape Road, which has a lot of offerings, be it hospitals, cafes, your day-to-day needs. There's a Ratnadeep right here. So quite a few things that Palma has. Nova, I feel it's a little interior, but I mean this is the Future Skid Schools Road. It's and then you have a bit of a branch out here, and it's slightly interior in my opinion, but nevertheless still part of financial district with easy access to ORR. The biggest pain point with this particular project is the density, 200 units per acre, 7 acres, 1440. Good size, similar size as Palma, 2000 to 2600 square feet. With entry point, they've had a good inaugural offer. I particularly like their clubhouse designs, so that's the good part. But again, it's a high rise, 60 plus floors. So the ones who are really looking to buy on the 60th floor, be ready to wait for 5 minutes in your lift, right? Um, See, I'm a little on the edge when it comes to 60 floors. I do like, and I'm a big proponent of, tapping into the FSI limits. I think it's a good thing. It brings down the overall cost for the end buyer, at least in principle. And we'll touch upon that a little more later. But in principle, yes, it makes your commodity a lot more affordable. But also has to be met with a bit more pragmatism, where people on the 60th floor, are you really looking for those views? Are you getting any views? What is the real value add of living on the 60th floor? Something for you to consider, right? Not to discourage, but there are always trade offs. So that's Nova for you. Uh, Again, quite a few towers. I think they have two towers, 7 acres. So yeah, 3 BHK only community, 2029. And then coming to Navnami 1, which is mostly just a one tower in 2 acres. I'm a little skeptical about this particular road unless it finishes. I think there are active plans to connect this new police road to Golden Mile layout and thereby also extending that to Pipeline Road. This particular road is a little wonky at this point. Where you have a few areas where water can get locked and all of that. But yeah, 2 acre community, 359 units, 163 units per acre. Massive clubhouse in case that helps, but big sizes. I think 2000 to 3300 square feet is the range, so more spacious units. Good thing is again, this also is one of those projects that's reaching for the clouds and sky with 60 floors. But good thing with this is at least some of the views are guaranteed. Although I think there'd be a few high rises here. With the right unit, you can potentially get some unblocked views. So that's a good thing about this. That's everything that's happening within the Kokapet Financial District, the more end use location. Then we have a couple of projects here that have just been launched. Prestige Golden Groove, fresh off the press. I think we received RERA yesterday. The only downside to this, apart from, I mean, obviously massive density again, people stretching that FSI limits. Massive community, 29 acres almost. Some of the units can be facing unblocked views given ICRISAT and all of this. The downside is the service roads are not yet laid out. Those of you who are probably dialing in from the US or other parts of the world, there's a road that is supposed to be connecting this part of the service road to this. As you can see, this is a railway corridor. That is not yet done. So this makes this location a lot more challenging. It's a great location for future, but currently I think by the time things get handed over to you as unit, you should look at better infra. Then you have Udyan, which is right along this Radial Road 7, continuing their legacy and pipeline of projects from Ankura, Tridasa, Vipana. Udyan is their, I believe, last project on this belt, or at least this particular belt. Good, again, massive 24-acre project, 3,766 units, massive community again. Good entry point. I think the price range is quite affordable, 7,300, 400 rupees per square feet. Golden Groove is also around that similar price bracket. One thing struck me, I think there are a lot of twos, which is unlike what we see for most my home projects. And partly, if you go into why that is the case, I think it's self-explanatory. I think not to speculate, I don't know. Although I've heard a few things about this particular group that I can't reveal. But essentially, they've been facing a few challenges with my home Sayuk's OC approvals, which is what is being reflected in this particular consumer sentiment, and also some alluding to degrading quality and stuff. That's something to keep in mind if you're considering. Not a major red flag, in my opinion, but something to closely monitor. They've been a cash-rich company. They have a huge brand reputation that they've built over years. So I think they'll should be able to circumvent this. Right? So that's a quick summary of where things stand in Hyderabad in Q1. Some of the few launches that struck my mind. I'm sure this is obviously just a few in the larger scheme of things. But 2026, things are looking slightly more optimistic. Uh, good set of projects. If you're in the market, these are the ones you can look up. Do let us know if you need any help. Drop a comment to see if you need help connecting the dots or going deeper into analysis. We do a lot of analysis on some of these projects with ventilation. What is the future project going to come up? Is this going to block your unit? All of that is something that we go really deep into. So if you're keen, please do drop a comment and we can just have a nice conversation. One more thing, actually, two more things. One is for you to just give a sense of what FSI is doing for Hyderabad, right? So as you can see, let's just take a emerging corridor example. The base prices in Udyan, even in Vipina at this point, are around the 7,500 range. This particular area has good connectivity, has great social infra going on. And now let me just benchmark that with Northern Bangalore. Right? North Bangalore, as some of you might know, is again a very, very strong growth story. I've personally seen some of this growth myself. I think it's done really well in the last few years. But just to give you a benchmark, a project here by Embassy or by Brigade is going for a base price of 8,900, 8,700. And so this is definitely an emerging corridor, like our Kollur. In fact, I would say it's further away from Kollur. A lot of people still treat this part of Bangalore as emerging corridors, right? So to be able to sell a tier one, yes, granted it's a township, like it's part of Embassy Springs and stuff. The new launch projects have been really selling well, and they're quoting 8,700 as base price. Yes, the good thing that these builders have done for their own, sales momentum is they've brought down the sizes. A typical size, a 2 BHK in Bangalore is now 900, 800 square feet. You can find units of that size. Again, I'm referring to super built up areas. So Hyderabad is thankfully not at that place. We still have more expansive units, better unit plans, in my opinion. So just to juxtapose, I think it's quite clear that Bangalore is operating at a different plane when it comes to price per square feet. So 8,500 to, just lay it out by 7,500. So you're looking at, in fact, 8,800 is what I was looking at. So 17% higher in similar apples, not exactly apples to apples. There's a lot happening in North Bangalore, potentially not happening in Kollur, but Tellapur, but from an early stage, this just got launched. Also 2030, 8,700, 8,800 as base price versus, our projects which have definitely good social infra, great connectivity to downtown, going for about 7,500. Right. Of course, there are a lot of things that are in favor of Bangalore, be it the employment, the demand. They do roughly 45% more sales in terms of revenue than Hyderabad. So, like I mentioned, not exactly apples to apples, but the FSI is one component that brings the affordability, right? They're constructing 16, 18 floors in Bangalore. We're going for the sky. At 48 floors is my home Udyana, 60 floors is Navnami 1. Right? Some of these factors do have an implication on cost. With that, I will sum up everything that we've talked about in terms of pre-launches. One more thing that I also mentioned as to why I've really delayed the talk, talking about the next thing in real estate in Hyderabad is I've been actively working on building my own product at the intersection of AI and real estate. I think that possibility really fascinated me. There were a lot of unique AI driven problem statements that we are looking to tackle. We are in very early stage. We've just launched the beta. I'll put that out in link, but please do try it out, share feedback. Again, like I mentioned, we are still in very early stages. The goal is to really address some of the key pain points that exist today. As I've been active in the markets for the last decade or so, I've stumbled upon so many problem statements that I wanted to sort of really have a better approach to. That's what really helped me, uh, build this product. With that, thank you so much for watching. If there are any specific questions, if there are any specific, research components that you need help with, feel free to tap into, the comment section.